Good day to you. Hope you're doing well, class. Welcome back. We're at class 20.
You made it to 20.
Can you believe it?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
So today's class is
It's an interesting one.
it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. You do everything right. You believe correctly. You do the right ethics. You give your money and time to worthy causes. You don't do bad crap. And still, bad things happen to us, or to our loved ones, or to our children. Why? Could not God have made a world where we can live and mature and grow our souls? Can't that happen without bad crap happening? Couldn't God have made a world where we could do all this maturing and wonderful stuff without having to say goodbye to 5-year-olds with childhood leukemia? WTF?
Right?
Welcome, class, to the thorniest question in life. Why do bad things happen to good people?
And often this brings people to religion, and it also pushes people away from religion.
You're stealing my thunder now. Careful.
We didn't even rehearse that. So, Theodicy and world faiths. How do religious people explain bad things, evil, right? Natural disasters, and other brute facts that happen to us? That's what Class 20 is about.
Yeah, how religion gets made. Class 20 on Theodicy. Is theology or world religion's toughest problem? Why? An airliner goes down with 255 people. Did it go down for 255 different reasons? Oof. So theodicy is the justice of God, or the defense of God's sovereignty when crap happens.
The question of where was God
Yeah.
is the key that's unasked and the key that's asked question.
Yeah, okay. So what wisdoms does the world religions offer us? Because if God is so good, then why is there evil? Thought about that? Get your headache medicine. We may get into some headaches here today.
And if you already have the answer, email him because we're done.
No, it'll be a too easy answer. Any answer to this question will always be too easy. We're always left with a mystery.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're not with a mystery, you think you know, then we may be in the wrong podcast for you.
That's true.
So today we're going to go slow. We're going to take our time because everybody's going to be carrying a burden. So we're going to be compassionate and aware as we speak. Okay?
And we're going to ask most former believers the number one reason that they have left the faith is because of this topic, right? Because does God have anything to do with the bad things happening?
Yeah. Okay.
What are the stories?
All right. Well, I have one. And I do not believe like I did 5 years ago because, as some of you may know, my godson had liver cancer at age 20 and died within 6 months. And I said, that just can't happen. That does not work for me. And so I have now gone off the personal God pill. I can't do the personal God anymore. So my God is something more like the Hindus would do, truth, or the Tao, or something like that. But give it a person, give it someone with agency to do or not do to people. That's not for me anymore.
We're going to listen to Epicurus talk about God and evil phrased the most succinct way that we could find it.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Okay, you may want to listen to it twice.
Is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is God both able and willing? Then whence cometh evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God?
So why is there still evil? The Odysseys try to answer this thing.
So Jesus comes to take care of evil, right, by dying on the cross. But there's still evil.
Yeah.
Even though he died on the cross, there's still evil in the world.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, or bad things happening
Right.
to really good people.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to look at 5 different theodicies today: the free will theodicy, the dualistic theodicy, the warning theodicy, the punishment theodicy, and the soul-making theodicy. And see, you may buy into some of these. Okay, so see where you land on this. Okay.
So number one, Free will.
Yeah.
We can mostly attribute all bad or good things happening to us by our decisions, our human decisions.
Yeah.
Good is a result of us cooperating with God. We did something good, God does something good for us.
Yeah.
Bad can be a result of our non-cooperation. God said, do this, I didn't do that, now this happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
These are lifetime harvests, like habits.
Yeah. You've talked about somebody who made bad decision. I just made a bad decision. Okay. That was a choice. All right. So if evil happens, it's often because of choices that we've made. And by the way, the free will theodicy is the most popular way that we explain why evil happens, because the number one thing that most God believers will not do is associate God and evil in the same breath. They will not do it.
Yep.
So our favorite go-to theodicy to explain evil is, it's my fault.
I did it.
Yeah. It is better that God created a world in which agents like us possess completely libertarian free will, even if we do something wrong, like Hitler. Even if we misuse it, and God will let us do wrong, rather than God create a world where agents lack libertarian free will. Because if we don't have free will, and a lot of scientists say we don't, but if we don't have free will, then we are basically machines.
Yep. We're automatons.
Yeah. And some of us may think that we're better when we're flawed people rather than automatons or machines. So I'd rather take a flawed human than a machine any day. And free will is what makes us distinctly human, right?
Is it?
Right?
All right. So here's the free will defense explained.
Okay.
How can a good, loving, all-powerful God allow evil?
And welcome to part 4 of this series on the problem of evil. This part will examine the free will defense. Just a quick reminder, in case you haven't watched these videos in order, but a theodicy is an attempt to show how the existence of evil and suffering is compatible with the existence of an all-loving, all-powerful God. Both the Augustinian and Irenaean theodicies were overtly Christian in nature, and so may not satisfy those theists who are not Christians. While both the Augustinian and Irenaean theodicies include a place for the role of free will, in recent years a number of philosophers have developed the idea of free will into a theodicy all of its own. Rather unimaginatively, it's simply referred to as the free will defense. Instead of starting with a specific religious text, such as Genesis, the free will defense begins with the claim that God created human beings with the intention that they would be able to discover and know Him, and in some sense have a relationship of love, faithfulness, or obedience to Him. However, different religions may express this in different ways. A prerequisite of this situation is that human beings must be genuinely free to respond to God in whichever way they choose, and therefore it's essential that they have genuine free will. The necessary consequence of a world with free will is that it will include the existence of both good and evil. Furthermore, in order for this free will to be genuine, God must not place limits on it or intervene arbitrarily. If God was to intervene every time that someone was about to do something genuinely evil, then this would tie our hands and restrict our freedom. Richard Swinburne, a key proponent of the free will defense, said, "The less God allows men to bring about large-scale horrors, the less the freedom and responsibility He gives them." In other words, in order for humans to be able to show the virtues that God desires, such as courage, fairness, and mercy, then humans must be able to be equally cowardly, unfair, or cruel. We might assume that the free will defense is only effective in explaining moral evil, but Swinburne believes it provides an explanation for natural evil too. He argues that a world in which death is a part of nature is a world better designed to bring about God's purposes. Swinburne gives a number of reasons why a world with death is better than one without it. Firstly, a world without death is a world where a person cannot make the ultimate self-sacrifice. Secondly, having a limited lifespan focuses a person's attention on how they should live. As Swinburne says, a situation of temptation with infinite chances is no situation of temptation at all. If there is always another chance, there is no risk. In other words, we need to know that we will not have infinite chances to get things right in order to motivate us to at least try. Thirdly, a world without death would mean the young would always be dominated by the old. Younger generations would never have the chance to take their place in having responsibility. Fourthly, death limits the amount of suffering one can experience or have inflicted on them. A common criticism of theodicies is how could God allow so much suffering? Some supporters of the free will defense seek to show that it is not possible to question the amount of suffering. Swinburne says that when we ask God to create a world with less suffering, we are in fact asking that God should make a toy world, a world where things matter but not very much. He would be like an overprotective parent who will not let his child out of sight for a moment. Furthermore, as John Hick has argued, if we say some evils are too much, then we get into a relative debate about where do we draw the line as to what is too much suffering. For example, if we lived in a universe where the worst possible pain we could cause was to flick someone's ear, then in this world we would consider those who do such a thing as intolerable monsters, akin to the way we view mass murderers such as Adolf Hitler. This seems absurd to us in this universe, but highlights that our understanding of suffering is only relative to our own experience. So what, if anything, is wrong with the free will defence? Some of the criticisms levelled at the Augustinian and Irenaean theodicies are applicable to the free will defence, and you could use those in the exam. For example, the question of whether it is acceptable to achieve something good by doing something bad is as relevant to the free will defence as it was to the Irenaean theodicy. However, the biggest criticism of the free will defence was offered by the Australian philosopher John Mackey. The free will defence claims that when creating the world, God faced a simple choice. Either he could create a world where humans had no free will, but in which pleasure is maximised and pain minimised, but where humans would effectively be robots. Or he could create a world where human freedom was the most important thing, although he would know that this would result in some pain and suffering, but this was a price worth paying so that it could lead to genuine response to God. This is the choice that Swinburne believes God would take. Mackey asserts that God had a third, and ultimately better, option available to him. In Mackey's view, God, if he was truly omnipotent, could have the best of both worlds, genuine freedom and the minimisation of pain. Mackey believes that a truly all-powerful God could have created humans who are genuinely free, but happened to always choose to do the right thing. I don't know why, but in my head, Mackey's superhumans somehow look like cyborgs. If God can make someone who chooses to do the right thing on at least one occasion whilst they are still free to do so, then it is not logically impossible to create humans who just happen to do this every time. Mackey says, God was not then faced with a choice between making innocent automata and making beings who, in acting freely, would sometimes go wrong. There was open to him the obviously better possibility of making beings who act freely but always go right. Clearly his failure to avail himself of this possibility is inconsistent with his being omnipotent and wholly good. Supporters of the free will defence would argue that what Mackey is claiming is logically impossible. Beings who always do good would not be truly free, and therefore this is not possible for God to do. Not because God can't do it, but because it can't be done. It is like asking God to create a stone too heavy for himself to lift. It creates a logical paradox. Thanks for watching. That's the end of this part of my series on the problem.
Please note well, this free will defense is the number one reason why most people around disconnect evil from God or gods. It's my fault, not God's. We're very hesitant to say that it's God's fault that the plane crashed.
Mm-hmm. And it's very important to people of faith that their gods not be associated in any way with evil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
God is here, evil is here.
Especially the Western faiths, the three monotheistic faiths, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Mm-hmm. But the issue is, does free will explain everything? Does it explain all evils? Mm-hmm. So here's a video for the thinking Christians that free will does not explain everything.
Check it out.
All right.
Why does God let bad things...
Some Christians believe that God is omniscient, which means God knows everything there is to know about anything. God, did you...
Yup.
Are penguins...
Nope.
Do you?
Sometimes.
Some Christians also believe that God is omnipresent, which means God is everywhere all the time.
God, could you be with my friend Steve in Toledo? I already am. But you're here. I know! Crazy, right?
Christians also believe that God is omnipotent, which means God can do anything. Anything God wants to do at any time. God could, if God wanted to, make it rain birthday cakes or turn you into a tube sock.
A tube sock?
Ew! And finally, some Christians believe that God loves us unconditionally, even if you were turned into a tube sock. The question a lot of people, including Christians, have is, if God is everywhere, knows everything, and can do anything, and especially if God loves everyone, then why does God let bad things happen?
Hey!
Are we supposed to know the answer?
Don't look at me. I'm just a tube sock.
This is actually one of the biggest, most perplexing questions of all. For some, The response to this is that God is not all-powerful.
Wait, you just said...
What is meant by this is that God chooses to relinquish or give up some divine power in order to give human beings freedom, the freedom to make our own choices. Of course, having the ability to choose means we can make bad choices.
Ray, I don't think this is such a good idea.
Shut up, I know what I'm doing.
And bad choices often lead to bad things happening.
Uh-oh.
And sometimes the bad choices we make don't just affect us.
Larry, I don't think...
Shut up, I know what I'm doing.
Sometimes they hurt others around us.
Ew, gross!
I don't feel so good.
And more often than we realize, our bad choices can cause far-reaching damage. They can hurt people we've never even met, and who certainly didn't deserve it.
Hello, what's your name?
But why would God let us make bad choices?
Yeah, why doesn't God just take charge?
Okay, well, what would that look like? What would it be like if God made all of our choices for us? We sure love God.
Boy, do we love God.
You do? Oh, yes. May I ask why?
Because God told us to.
You see, the problem with that scenario is that we'd be unable to grasp what our relationship with God really is. What is relationship? Exactly. Without possessing your own mind, you can't really be in a relationship, not fully, or even know what one is. Because relationships require mutuality in order to be loving relationships. God wants nothing more than a deep, intimate relationship with us. But God also created us to have our own minds, our own thoughts, our own perspectives. Without these, we'd basically all just be a bunch of zombies. When we stay open to a relationship with God, when we allow God to work in us and let God's love flow through us, some really great things can happen. But it's important to remember that even when you are in a relationship with God, you aren't immune from pain and suffering. And it isn't always because you or someone else made a bad choice. Sometimes bad things just happen to people, even to really nice people, innocent people, things that no one can control, like earthquakes or tornadoes.
Ow! Oh.
Or lightning or meteors. In the end, no one has a satisfactory answer about why God lets bad things happen. At the same time, God is constantly doing everything possible to transform decay, death, and destruction into abundant life, including dying on the cross, true, sacrificial, undeserved suffering for us. What truly matters most for us is how we respond to bad things that happen. If we let God work in us and let God's love flow out of us to others in need, in pain, even people who have hurt us, that's when you start to see God doing amazing things through us, helping to make this a better world.
And if you are a believer in one of these monotheistic faiths, you've got to reckon with Isaiah 45:7. Okay? You want to read this for us?
Sure. I, God, form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. Isaiah
Create
45:7.
darkness. Create darkness. Create disaster.
Yeah. It says it.
Yeah. Suck on that, guys. Second theodicy is the dualism theodicy, which is very prevalent. Dualism is very prevalent in the United States and the West, which there's good versus evil, there's light versus darkness, there's life versus death, there's above in heaven and below in earth, below the earth. We have not of this world, of this world. We have truth, we have falsehood, we have belief, unbelief. We receive things. We did not receive things.
We have the spirit.
Yeah.
We have the flesh.
Yes, we love to divide ourselves into these dualistic beings when that's a story and a myth too. One that we've believed and believed and believed, and Hollywood will ritualize the hell out of this for us.
Every chance they get.
Yeah, so that's why we are basically dualist in our faith here. There are two realms, but the conflict, and by the way, in that realm, between these realms, there's a lot of conflict in the supernatural realm between a God and a Satan, and their battle sort of spills over into our world. And that's how a lot of people will explain in this dualistic theodicy.
Yep.
Okay, it's Satan after me.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So this can explain much. It can really explain a lot, all right? Some natural disasters, like earthquakes, 5-year-olds with leukemia. You know, some might think it explains murders and psychopathic behavior. Maybe the last election.
Okay.
Yeah, I said it. The last election.
Well, you
for
know,
some people.
and no matter what year you're looking at this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever the last election
If we still have
was.
elections, by the way.
Yeah, in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, good and evil powers beyond this world are more or less in control, and they got their lines into us and their hooks into us, and we're just doing their bidding kind of thing. So some of the ramifications of this dualism, there would be no heaven or hell if there were no dualistic worldviews. I'm just saying this. Our dualist worldviews make heaven and hell real.
Yep.
That's it. That's all. Heaven is the best possible life here on earth, but on spiritual steroids. And hell is the worst possible life here on earth, but on spiritual steroids.
Yeah.
Hashtag prison.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So usually this theodicy needs, number one, free will to be believable. I love this sign. You can see this all over the
Heaven or
South.
hell, it's your choice.
Yes.
Outdoor Christians.
Yes. And what are exactly heaven and hell? As I just mentioned, our best and our worst lives that we can conceive of.
Right.
But after we die.
Yeah.
And so heaven is held forth as this really great positive place to be, and hell is rendered as this place that's just
terrible, horrible,
and terror
painful.
and no good.
Yeah. So how do people get to one or to the other?
Yeah.
Right. There's a couple ways. One that's believed as predestination. Right. Therefore, what we see as bad or evil is actually part of God's plan. He or she, it knew it was going to happen.
God don't make mistakes.
Right. So unless you're one of the few Christians who feel that everyone goes to heaven, everyone is chosen for heaven, right?
Yeah.
So evil is part of that divine plan.
Yeah, yeah. Which, if you think about that critically, as in critical thinking, where does that take you?
Right.
Evil as part of a good God's plan.
And then there's free will, right? Which is where you go is more your choice than God's. You do all the right things.
Yeah. Or
You
do the
say
right-
or you don't.
do the right beliefs.
The right beliefs,
right,
the
right rituals. Yeah.
right? And then you go to heaven.
Yeah.
Or you don't do all that stuff, or you do the opposite of it,
Yeah.
and you go to hell.
And free will is the most popular way we think that humans get to heaven or to hell.
Right.
Okay. So notice how theodicies 1 and 2 kind of marry each other. So one way to demonstrate this is in cartoons. There's a lot of cartoons on the internet. But God is so holy that God needs satisfaction. And God does not brook with any of the least transactions, because the least transaction will get you thrown to hell. Okay? So this idea that God needs satisfaction will emphasize that there's this all-knowing, all-powerful God whose justice needs to be satisfied by sinners going to hell and the saints entering heaven. Okay?
Yeah, take a look at this
little cartoon. Yeah. So if the perfect example of this, I hope you'll go and read Jonathan Edwards' sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. You can actually get some of it portrayed on YouTube, so live. So it's really cool. But it's a terror sermon. It really is. You know, God's got you. God is like got you like a spider's web over hell, the fires of hell,
dangling you over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Let's do a critical thinking.
Let's do some critical thinking. I don't want to be someone's bitch.
Yeah.
So one is modern Christianity needs dualistic gods,
Yeah.
right? God and Satan.
Yeah, the culture was first of all dualistic, and then the religions that came up in those dualistic cultures have to be dualistic as well. Okay, so the believers actually encouraged to quote believe in Satan. Just pause a minute. I believe in Satan.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay, and further,
The belief reality of Satan undergirds and actually strengthens the case for God's existence.
Yes.
If Satan exists,
Yeah.
then God definitely exists.
that's right. Yes. So ergo, God needs Satan to make God more believable. Strange thinking.
It is.
All right, let's go to the fourth theodicy. Warning theodicy. Sometimes things happen to other people, and then people get the idea, well, that happened, God let that happen, so I could be warned. Okay?
So I could know what not to do.
Exactly. So I don't get vaccinated, or I do get vaccinated, so I don't die of these horrible disease deaths.
Right.
Don't let what happened to them happen to me. There's a reason something bad happened to other people, because it's a warning. God is sending a warning flag, a flare signal to those with eyes to see. For example, smokers,
Yep.
you know,
Drunk drivers, enraged drivers.
who get into fatal accidents, or people who don't wear their seatbelts,
Right.
and they get
And get in a
guillotined.
wreck and-
So
Well, they didn't wear their seatbelt.
the bottom line is that what happened to them could happen to you. So take heed. They were perhaps punished, so you could then be safe or saved. I've actually heard this. Yeah.
The punishment theodicy. You get what you deserve. Free will is implied in that.
Yeah.
Right?
But you got to be careful. It's easy to blame the victim.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're there because you were deficient.
Yep.
So
So-
nah.
So George Carlin, we're going to let him take a swing at this real
Yeah,
quick.
it could get offensive, but it's hilarious as well.
Pretty
So,
funny.
Yeah. So we need to laugh in something like that. So here's your laugh.
Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish, where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you.
Then there's the karma one. You always get exactly what you deserve. But that's karma.
Yeah.
Why? It keeps God's hands, if God has hands, clean of evil or bad intentions. And note all these theodicies are trying to do exactly that, to separate God from any taint or touch of evil or bad. Okay. Then there's the soul-making theodicy.
So suffering and trials from God are designed to strengthen us and make us stronger.
Yeah.
Like trials and tribulations.
Yes, I once had a guy I worked with at a religious camp one time, and he said, God just sent me a cold last night to teach me something. But the point is, he is thinking that by sending him kind of evil or bad stuff, it's going to make him a better person. He gets purged of the bad and filled with more good, because as he's suffering, he realizes that he needs to be more godly. Okay?
Or he wouldn't have gotten the cold.
That's right. And all this process for us is just good for us, because it's going to perfect us, make us more whole. Okay? Islam features this, but also
Athletes.
yes.
And let's think of soldiers, especially the Marine Corps.
Yeah. And as a former athlete, I get this. That which doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Good old Nietzsche.
Yeah. No, most people don't realize Nietzsche said that. Yeah. And the Marines one,
Pain is weakness leaving the body.
we've heard this. We've probably practiced this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I work harder and it hurts more,
Yeah.
then that means that weakness is gone. I'm
That's
stronger
right.
now.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Okay. You know, or as I used to say when I was a bicycle racer, hills are our friends.
Not me.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. But there's a downside.
Yep, there's a downside of soul-making theodicy. So it provides no account of the suffering that young, innocent children endure, either because of terrible diseases or at the hands of adults. No soul-making purpose is served by an abused child.
Yeah. Period.
It's nothing.
Full stop.
Yep.
Okay. This soul-making theodicy makes no justification for the existence of any animal pain. Okay? All those billions and billions and billions of animals that are killed every year so we can eat them. There's no justification for that. And the animals are feeling the pain.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. There's nothing, we can't get around that, folks. We cannot outthink that one.
Yep. So do all those end-of-life cancers and terminal diseases, do they make the victim any more stoic or better souled for having gone through it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Well, maybe.
But
it can also make them a sweeter person sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been a hospice chaplain, and I don't see much use for cancer or terminal diseases that just rack your body and leave you a shell before it takes your life.
Yep.
Islam's very similar to Christianity. There's this world and the next world. There's Allah and Shaitan. There's their word for Satan.
And I want to note this, that a lot of Christians don't realize how similar Islam is to the Christian faith.
Exactly. So in Islam, heaven, for those who answered the Lord's call or believed, okay, heaven is your reward. But if you don't, it's hell, just like the Christians would say.
Yep.
Judaism. Judah has some really cool ideas on theodicy here. You're given these two yetzers, Y-E-T-Z-E-R, yetzers, tendencies, they would be in English. You have a tendency to do good, and you have a tendency to do bad. And by the way, this was the original intent of the first Genesis stories in Eden. It was not a place where the Jews wanted to demonstrate original sin. Oh no, it was a story to demonstrate the tendencies of these two people, and they had a choice between the two. The Christian understanding is a way Johnny-come-lately understanding, 400 years after Jesus died. But in Judaism, you have the Yetzer, there's that tendency, Hara, the tendency to do evil, or the Yetzer, the tendency to do good. And each of these tendencies are like muscles in our body that we develop over time, and we develop the tendency to do one or the other better. And the more you practice anything, let me repeat, the more you practice anything, the stronger you become in it.
Like the nail in the magnet.
Exactly, yes. So this theodicy hangs heavily upon free will as well. The angel on your left versus the angel on your right, or the devil on your right, and they're each whispering to you, but they're each talking to a tendency within you that resides, that you're born with, and they're trying to activate that tendency.
Right.
Yeah.
So evil and good are entirely our choices, right? Because over time, the practicing one can outshine the other.
Yeah.
If you're always really, really, really good, and you do something bad, well, okay, it happened.
Yeah.
But if you're really, really, really bad, and all of a sudden you do something really good, people go, "Oh my gosh!" Like, look.
Yeah. What happened? Yes.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to karma. Hinduism and Buddhism are really good at this. There's no divine punishment because in Buddhism there is no God. There's a lot of gods in Hinduism, but it's not the gods that are punishing you. It's you and your use of your free will. You're only reaping what you have already sown. Okay? This universal law states that nothing happens by chance or outside the universal laws. Every action has a reaction or consequence, and we just reap what we have sown.
Yep.
Or, as we say, what goes around
comes around. Yep.
Okay. So Hinduism is polytheistic, and Buddhism is
non-theistic.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So in both religions, karma is your only theodicy, all right, or explanation of bad things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he had that coming. Yeah. That's bad karma.
Yeah. You have to be careful not to blame the victim, though.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But and where it can get really wrong is in Hinduism that says that if you're born in a lower caste, it's because you deserved it.
In a previous life.
Yeah, and that's kind of, they can get away with it. I don't know if I can get away with it, but I wish they couldn't get away with it. But the Buddhists would say that only your karma gets reborn. And it's not just reborn every lifetime, but in every second of your life. The things that you were doing 10 seconds ago are affecting what you're doing right now. The things that you did 10 years ago are affecting you now. You don't have to wait to die to get your karma reward. You're always reaping it.
Right.
So in Buddhism, they say your karma is your dharma. That is your duty or your teaching, the thing that you need to learn.
And karma is actually part of many other religions, unofficially.
Yeah.
So, as Westerners, we assume that Hitler is probably in hell because of his actions.
Yeah. And nobody's going to contest that.
Everybody's like, yep, makes sense.
I might contest it, but, I'd be way in the minority.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because we had this karma muscle in us that gets activated a lot. Ready for a little humor? Welcome to the Karma Cafe. There are no menus here. You'll get served just what you deserved. Oof. You want to take one and I'll take one?
Sure. I'll do this one. So karma is like a rubber band. You can only stretch it so far before it comes back and smacks you in the face.
I've been there, done that.
Yep, I think we all have.
All right, top right. What goes around comes back around.
Treat people as you would like to be treated. Karma's only a bitch if you are.
Or bitch if you are.
Bitch if you are.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear that karma cake you baked yourself isn't tasting as good as you expected. Perhaps a nice glass of I told you so will help you wash it down.
Or my favorite, especially living here in Asheville, and we see it on bumper stickers all the time, is I saw that, love karma.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as we already hinted, karma may be an all face because it depends on our free agency and will. We tag people according to what they do, not who they are. Okay?
Yep. So thus, when bad things happen or good occurs, either one, it is seen as a result of those past actions, whether in this life or in your past lives.
Yeah. Okay. So only they are responsible. Yeah, you can blame the victim here. Think caste in Hinduism, and it's really horrible what this can do. But if you stay on an individual level, it might work for you some of the time. I just don't know. I don't know what the Buddhists and the Hindus would say to childhood leukemia. Or if I don't know what they do. But anyway.
Yeah. And by the way, heaven and hell are a kind of reincarnation. Think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's sum up. If God exists, he is omnipotent and can stop all evil.
He is omniscient and knows how to do it.
Morally perfect and desires to end evil.
But if evil exists, so either God doesn't exist or he is not in all three of these.
Yeah. Can God be all three at the same time? Yeah. Can God be all powerful and all good at the same time?
All at once.
Yeah. Revenge? Nah, I'm too lazy. I'm just going to sit here and let that karma you up.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, Lord, why do bad things happen to good people? Come on, man. I do like 3 killer tsunamis per year at most, and then otherwise things are basically solid. It's pretty funny.
This is God, like in The Wizard of Oz. I am all powerful, all knowing, and all good. Don't forget that.
You're right.
So, does your theodicy ask you to ignore one of those,
or all of those?
Well, you can't hold all 3. Which one are you leaving out?
Yeah.
Okay. Or as Wizard of Oz says, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. And that's what theodicy asks us to do.
Yeah. Just don't look.
All right. This really gets my students, because when these are 18 to 21-year-old students who come so, I love them, naive about the way life goes. And almost to a person, they have this idea that everything happens for a good and righteous religious reason. Okay? So a popular theodicy in our parts is?
Most have said or heard this. Someday everything will all make perfect sense. So for now, laugh at the confusion, smile through the tears, and keep reminding yourself that everything happens for a reason.
Are anybody cringing yet?
Hurts.
Keep calm because everything happens for a reason.
There it is. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. And sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. From the deep thinker of Marilyn Monroe.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Okay. So we, in my classes, we would devote a whole day to everything happens for a righteous and good religious reason. Okay. And we would start with a pre-vote. How many people believe that everything happens for a reason? And votes are recorded on and how many people believe that it doesn't happen like that? And we record their votes. And then we go at it for 45 minutes. You know, we get down and dirty.
Yep.
And then at the end, we take a post vote. And usually 2 or 3 people have changed their minds.
I'm sure, yeah.
Both ways.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's a video that is the best possible spin or endorsement of everything happens for a reason.
AFAR.
Yeah, but it sort of creeps me out. But yeah, I'll let you see it and see what you think. The positives about everything happens for a reason. They can give us assurance in hard times.
Absolutely. There's greater, deeper, higher purpose at work when bad things happen.
Yeah. Basically, it means I'm not in charge. Hey, how cool is that?
Yeah. And there's no accidents.
Yeah. No coinky dinks.
No coinky dinks.
Yes.
Nope, that's true. The train you missed was not your train.
That plane was not your plane either.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are single and committed for a reason. patience.
Yep.
That is, you're not married now for a reason. This
Yeah.
is for my young students.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
or for
patience.
older ones too.
Yeah, right? Yeah, okay. The negatives? Yeah. Okay. It assumes fate in some form. Can anyone say Katrina or Helena
Yeah.
or Sandy Hook or Parkland, Florida?
Or any number of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So this jet plane with 255 people crashes. Everyone dies, but for 255 different reasons. And God was behind every single one of them.
21,000 kids under 5 died yesterday and today and will die tomorrow of preventable causes. For what purpose are they dying? Is that for 21,000 different reasons? What part of God's will are they advancing?
Okay, this is, I want to say that again. What part of God's will are these 21,000 kids advancing? Okay.
Is that God?
Yeah.
Is that God's original intention?
Yeah.
Really?
God just makes people, kids,
Expendable?
cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. God somehow needs that brute fact or that evil stuff somehow to advance God's eternal will. It could not be advanced without someone dying like my godson or suffering. Thus, God needed the Holocaust to balance God's will. Suck on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we close out with things don't happen for a reason. A little language in this one, but it gives you the opposite case, that things don't happen for a religious or righteous reason. Right.
For me, it's, this phrase, everything happens for a reason, is the most annoying phrase in the world. And I hear it all the time. Everything doesn't happen for a reason. We say everything happens for a reason because as humans we want to believe that the world is fundamentally a fair place, right? Where this bullshit imaginary force called karma rewards goodness and it punishes evil. It's rubbish. And what it does is it creates this illusion that the world is designed and that when we have a loss, that's just part of this unfolding grand plan meant to teach us something, or that we'll be rewarded with something even greater than our loss if we just wait. It's rubbish, and it's a coping mechanism. That's exactly what it is. And what's happening is we're looking back on our lives and we're connecting the dots and we're saying, well, if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be here now. And it's not just rubbish. It's a fundamentally dangerous way to lead your life. And it's been proven that people who live life believing that their fate is determined by external forces beyond their control, lead less successful and therefore unhappier lives. And they make excuses and it's never their fault, everything happens for a reason. And if you say everything happens for a reason, you have to mean everything. Not just your boyfriend dumping you or getting fired from your job, you have to mean everything. You have to mean the parasite that borrows its way through a baby's eye in Africa, making the baby blind. You have to mean that too. You have to mean the kid that dies of leukemia in Liverpool at 3 years old. That has to be part of the supernatural plan as well. And things, I guess, from a logical perspective, everything does happen for a reason. It's called cause and effect, right? But it's not a supernatural thing. If you get fired from your job, maybe you're bad at your job. If your boyfriend dumps you, maybe you weren't a good girlfriend. And sometimes bad things happen in this world, and as humans, we're programmed to be very, very quick to take credit when we win, but when we lose, well, everything happens for a reason.
And that brings us to the end of class 20.
That's it. Talking about theodicy is sometimes depressing. Yeah. Get some help if you feel traumatized by the silence of God in the face of evil in your part of the world. You're not alone, and I will put in a little personal thing here. Talk to somebody. Find a therapist or a counselor, whether with your church or without, but somebody who can listen and can help you walk through this stuff.
Okay. And I'll put in what is next time. I forget what next time is.
I don't know. I have to look.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a summary. I've got some religions on the left, but I've also got, Christianity, there's Judaism, there's Buddhism, but how about the medical field or the universities? Okay. Their crap is, in Christianity, we're estranged from God, resulting in more and more soul sickness. In Judaism, free will actions lead to evil events. Buddhism, stress, suffering, dukkha, that is suffering, and conflict, aggression, bad thoughts about people.
Right.
Medical, you're sick. You got stress. You got increasingly obvious symptoms. So what do? Or in universities?
Ignorance.
Yes.
Right? Lack of critical thinking.
So why don't you take the diagnosis of these?
So Christianity, diagnosis of that would be original sin, right? It happened to Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Judaism would be Yetzer Hara, which is the tendency to do bad.
Yeah.
As a human. For Buddhism, it'd be clinging to the wrong things via ignorance.
Yeah.
Just acting like it's not there.
Yeah.
Medical would be that medical diagnosis, telling you what's wrong. And the universities would be insufficient study habits and ignorance habits.
Okay. The prescription for Christianity, salvation through Jesus alone. Or in Judaism, call on God to strengthen in the time of trouble. Look at the Psalms, they're all about that. And for Buddhism, there can be an end to all this suffering. It's called nirvana, where all that stress and clinging is extinguished. Okay? And then in medical, they got the solutions. You got solutions that you use to be healed with. And then in universities, you replace those old habits that didn't work very much in high school either. You replace them with new, at least long enough to get a diploma.
Right? Just make it all the way through.
Yeah. And then you got the long-term process.
Yeah, now the long-term process for Christianity would be salvation, sanctification, ethics, the call to serve, the church, etc. In Judaism would be the constant vigilance and use of free will, focus on Yetzer Hatov.
Yeah. So
Buddhism.
Buddhism. You get some Buddhism?
I started some Buddhism. I'm making some Buddhism tonight. But
this would be an outtake.
Yeah. Buddhism would be the Eightfold Path, right? In medical would be the paths to wholeness, whether it's surgery, drugs, radiation, therapies, whatever. And universities would be to reinforce the new with grades, advising, and support systems.
So bad things happen, and everybody, no matter who you are, has got reasons and then some solutions for those. So that's our class today, folks. We hope that you have enjoyed it and that you've learned something, and maybe you might not sleep so well tonight when you think about evil and your God in the same sentence.
And we're sorry about that, and we're not.
Not really, but still, I mean, this is something that mature people need to think through for themselves.
Absolutely. Okay. If you don't use critical thinking, then you'll become someone's bitch.
Yeah. So join us next time, and we'll be back with another, hopefully, exciting class for you. And then we have to thank Mars Hill University. And we have to thank Kevin Mulhall, the librarian here at Mars Hill University's library. We want to thank you for your faithfulness to be here and asking the questions you do and doing the thinking that you're doing. We'll see you next time.
Until then, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Buddhism.